Who is the better rival for Isagi Yoichi? Barou Shohei or Rin Itoshi? That is the question that has been going around Blue Lock for quite some time, and no real definitive answer has come from that. So I am going to answer that here today. But before we get into that, I just want to say, if you enjoyed, be sure to follow, like, whatever, doesn't matter. Just do whatever you do to everyone else's channel. That's that. All right, so first let's start off with Rin. Rin, as we know, embodies the ideal striker in Blue Lock. It's been said time and time again from what we've seen at the beginning of Blue Lock till now. Basically, Rin is a genius with both individual brilliance and team adaptability. He represents the pinnacle of what Isagi Yoichi wants to be, making him the quote-unquote final boss within Blue Lock. Although that is subject to change as things play on within Blue Lock, especially in the Neo-Egoist League, with him shedding off the dead weight that was Rin, realizing the real reason why he wanted to win was to win, not trying to beat Rin. So that's a whole different thing. Now, what do I mean by that? To go into depth, Blue Lock is about players breaking their limit and evolving into egotistical strikers. Rin in this scenario pushes Isagi in every way, strategically, technically, and mentally, and we see that time and time again ever since the very beginning of Rin's introduction. His genius forces Isagi not only to improve, but also rethink his approach to the game entirely. And like I said before, the Neo-Egoist League shows this, as well as the U20 arc and everything before that. Rin and Isagi consistently clash in critical matches where the stakes are at their highest, such as the second selection in the U20 Japan match. These encounters feel like defining moments in Isagi's growth because they pit him against someone who is always one step ahead, prompting him to evolve even further in order to beat Rin Itoshi. And so far, we've seen that happen, even if it's just barely. But even with that, Rin manages to come back and cause Isagi to have to evolve further. With Rin being a genius striker with near perfect tactical skills, tactical awareness, and calm yet intense personality, he's essentially a more polished and natural version of what Isagi aspires to be, as I said. So be sure to keep that in mind whenever I elaborate on it further on in this video. Now, let's talk about Barou Shohei. Now, Barou's rivalry with Isagi is kind of interesting if you really think about it. You see, Barou challenges Isagi on an emotional and philosophical level, representing pure selfishness and domination. While Rin's rivalry is cerebral, Barou's is visceral, forcing Isagi to confront the importance of ego and individuality. Basically, wanting to be the best on the field versus the exact same thing, but on a different kind of spectrum. Now, you could argue that Barou plays a crucial role in developing Isagi's confidence and ability to dominate. Barou's rivalry is more about personality clashes and learning to coexist with an overwhelming presence rather than striving towards a shared goal, similar to how the ego aspect of Blue Lock is meant to be. Now, while Barou's rivalry is compelling, it doesn't challenge Isagi as much as Rin does. You see, Barou helps Isagi develop in different aspects, i.e. ego and decisiveness, but he doesn't threaten Isagi's place in the hierarchy of Blue Lock, at least in the exact same way that Rin does when it comes to thinking and acting. Maybe that has to do with the fact that we haven't seen very much with Barou versus Isagi versus Rin, but I guess that could be argued depending on the philosophical aspects of the rivalries. So contrary to popular belief, based off of everything we've heard and seen, I'm gonna go ahead and say that Rin is the better rival for Isagi. Understand this, the overarching narrative leans more towards Rin than it does Barou. That being said, a lot of people could argue that even though both of the ideals related to Isagi and Rin aren't really coexisting, and it could be for Barou's side, based off of how things are in Blue Lock, it's constantly between the two of them. It's always Isagi versus Rin. And at one point, even in the U20 match, Rin basically declares Isagi as a rival. Now, if that doesn't tell you enough, I don't know what else does. See, Rin's superiority is not only a roadblock, but also the standard Isagi must exceed to fulfill Blue Lock's mission. Barou, on the other hand, while crucial for Isagi's emotional and mental growth, serves more as a stepping stone for Isagi to embrace his ego and dominance rather than a rival in the grand scheme of Blue Lock. Now, the real question is, do you agree? Or is it deeper than what was explained?